Aklımızda bir soru var. İnsanlığın en büyük merakı 300 bin yıldır bu sorunun içinde saklı. Acaba ufukta neler var? Bize keşfetme cesareti veren bu soruyu ülkemizin geleceği için soruyoruz. Güneş ufuktan nasıl doğacak? Sıfır karbon dünya hedefiyle iklim sorunları için fikirler ekiyoruz. Bilinmeyen ufka, bilimle yelken açıyoruz. Türkiye'nin dijital devrimini, ekonomide banka ve fintechlerin yeni stratejilerini konuşuyoruz. 2023'e doğru, 2050 ufkuyla Cumhuriyetimizin yol haritasını çiziyoruz. Türkiye'ye ve dünyaya yön veren, ufkumuzu genişleten 53 konuşmacı. 1-3 Haziran'da 21. kez düzenlenen Forum İstanbul 2023 konferanslarında. Siz de takip edin. Ufukta neler var? Birlikte arayalım.
Sayın Başkanlarım, saygıdeğer Forum İstanbul katılımcılarımız,
Presidents, dear Forum İstanbul
uzun
participants,
soluklu
dear guests,
özelliğiyle
with the
ulusal ve
feature of
uluslararası
Turkey's longest running international regional meeting, we welcome you to Forum İstanbul 2023 conferences, which has brought together prestigious names who are opinion leaders at national and international level for 20 years, discussing the world and Turkey agenda, evaluating future perspectives and celebrating its 21st anniversary this year. Konferansımızı İngilizce Forum İstanbul 2023 YouTube kanalından takip edebilirsiniz. Like every year, we do this year under the theme of 2023 with the future of 2053, like we have been supported by Turkish Exporters Assembly and also our sponsors Turkish Telecom and main sponsors APS Textile, Denizbank, Green for Growth Fund, Gülsan Holding, Turkish Economy Bank, Turkish Industry Development Bank and Turkey İş Bank.
kanallarından bizleri canlı
Thank
yayınlayan
our social media sponsor, our live broadcast sponsor, Dünya Newspaper and Versailles
sohbetine geçmeden
Media
evvel
Relation sponsor.
tüm oturumlar süresince 2022 hashtagini kullanarak bizlere yorum ve sorularınızı yollayabilirsiniz. Konferansın program detaylarını
All the sessions could be followed with FI 2020 hashtag on the social media accounts, and you can also follow us on the forumistanbul.com website.
takip etmeyi unutmayın.
Do not forget to follow us on Forum İstanbul 2023 conferences social media accounts. And today we are going to be having digitalization at the center of our live session. I'd like to give the floor to DİDEM DURU, CEO of Cisco Turkey, and HAKAN ARAN, member of the board of CEO Türkiye Bankası. So they're going to have the Turkish coffee chat together. Thank you very much. Hakan Bey, welcome. Hello. So it is very pleasurable to be with you here in the Turkish Coffee Talks. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. So for a long time you have been working as a banker. As far as I see, it's been 33 years, and you have spent majority of this career in technology world. A year ago, you became a general manager, and it's a disruptive technology responsible general manager became the CEO of Türkiye İş Bankası, and we are more than proud of what you have succeeded, and we have become really hopeful for seeing people coming from technology backgrounds in CEO positions. In the place where the technology goes towards, there are many game changers by technology. Business models do change along with business models. Banking sector changes because there is the transformation and change triggered by technology, and along with Metaverse, new world has been established actually in the parallel senses. There are new lives going on, and it has affected the experience of the customers. How do you see customer experience in the Metaverse? How do you perceive it? What can you say about Metaverse and some similar technologies for our lives when it comes to user experience? First and foremost, I'd like to thank you very much for this really nice comments, and it's been a great life for us. And I come from technology, so I actually didn't know that, I didn't know to what extent I could adapt myself to this position. I was really concerned, but I believe that we need to bring education and information together, because at this very point, we could only create difference. I graduated from the computer engineering department, and I started
Artık sen
in the
yöneticisin.
bank in the software department. Then I became a software manager. They told me that you are going to manage the software developers. Then I had my master degree in the management administration. Then afterwards, I completed my dissertation thesis. So I believe that when the information experience is emerged together, it will provide better benefits for you. No matter what you say, even if you say I come from banking background, each and every different department has its own peculiar features. So you have to bring all these talents and information specific to your department together. When you know the technical language of your department that you manage, then it's better and it's more joyful. Actually, it's better for the employees that you work with. So for 2 years, I actually tried to adapt myself, and it's been 2 wonderful harmonization years for myself. And I hope that at the end of my position time is over, when I just have a look at the evaluation, I can see that I have made my best, and this is decentralized finance, DeFi. This is the new concept. It is the decentralized finance that right now I'm working very hard. It has entered into our lives with the blockchain, and on the blockchain, new implementations were started on crypto chains and crypto assets. So altogether, all these concepts were merged together, and each and every concept is replacing one another. So they are very much affected with one another. If something is harmed, the other could alienate itself. So I believe that we are like the extension of the digitalization metaverse, and especially when it comes to this topic for a long time, we have been working on the artificial intelligence and also virtual reality, augmented reality. So these are like some examples on our lives with Pokemons and some other games, and they have come to a certain position, and some thresholds could not be actually got over. So with Metaverse, everything has brought together, and there are new technologies right now. Some of them were in the past. Right now, they were just eliminated in our lives, and with the new technologies, we can see new version of technology. Metaverse has 3 dimensions: augmented reality and virtual reality. Beyond these 2, we can talk about actually advanced and enriched technology. So at this very point, digitalization, digital assets, digital identities, digital lives have become alive. And banking sector is, of course, a different boulevard here, and it's a totally different concept. And the people who come from banking technology are at the very joyful side of the banking sector, but banking sector is a place where the resources must be used very effectively. There is this crediting and providing loan parts of the issue. So when it comes to metaverse and banking, of course, it's not very much interconnected as of this moment, but as Türkiye İş Bankası, we try certain things up until now. For instance, we have the first exhibition about metaverse. İş Bankası and İş Sanat had the first exhibition about metaverse, and in the first months of the year, we presented NFT to our customers as gift. So our customers have digital wallets. They can keep their keys in this NFT wallet. So we have done this together with digital world and the real world together. So we had virtual meetings on the metaverse platforms. We try to get the best use of our capacity at our hands, and we can also differentiate the customer experience. But when we say customer experience, actually, digitalization, if it's a part of our lives, then digitalized customers come into a very important point. Among digitalized customers, we can also prioritize customers who can play games and who can think of NFTs. It's like the group living in the digital reality in this whole reality. In order to make them much more appreciated in banking world, we try to grasp their spirit, and we want to catch the spirit of the new generation. Metaverse is really crucial in this respect. Otherwise, you just miss your target. If you don't want these customers to be your customers, then you can just ignore Metaverse or that customer section working and living in that digitalization concept. But I want to work with customers who are keen on being in digitalized worlds. Even though these are some wrong trial, I just want to try and learn. Metaverse approach is really crucial for us. And beyond that, experience of our customers is at the very top levels. AI enriched, frictionless, easier way is our target for our customer experience. For a smooth customer experience in Metaverse, we are doing our best. These are indispensable parts for one another. Yes, you have done really correct things, but along with this, I believe that you are going to bring new momentum, including each and every generation for the future, actually. So from this onwards, I want to ask a different question. Yes, there are new trends, emerging trends, like you have mentioned, Metaverse is used
Bir yandan da böyle
transferring new experience for the new generation, and there is also some changes on the banking sector. There are startups, fintechs, these are coming together with the banking sector, and this is how I see actually. Banking sector is lagging a bit behind or taking a step behind, and they are maybe paving the way for other establishments or formations. So embedded banking, I don't like this concept actually, because when it is embedded, it's like you are putting something into a place which is not visible. So for me, it is invisible banking. It is not embedded, because when we say embedded, it's like it's in a confined place. But when we say it in a different way, I believe this is better in explanation. When I say invisible banking, actually, this is a natural part of smooth experience, smooth customer experience. Because if you attach importance to customers, then naturally in the lives of the customers, you need to provide smooth transitions for their daily actions, like playing games or trying to find a house for rental. And you can actually make shopping, and you can actually do your green grocery shopping on your phone, and you can also look at some rentals houses or houses for sale, for instance. You try to meet your needs, so you need to use a card, right, in order to meet your need. And this is the easiest way, like you use your card without any problem. If you can define your card on your phone and complete your shopping experience, then this is very nice for you, right? And this is the embedded banking, but this is for me invisible banking process. But naturally, we have been using this for a long time. This is the use of credit card in the shopping experience of customers. Humanity and banking sector have come to a very great position, but sometimes you need to use it in a different way, like entering the passwords all the time and just waiting for passwords for your phone to be approved. Sometimes it's also troublesome, but we need to be able to use the smooth experience for banking applications, like for instance, on a mobile application, you like the house, and then you need to be able to see this house on the virtual platforms. And maybe when you just agree with the landlord for renting the house, you can do this on the virtual platforms. Can it be credited on the virtual platforms? Can it be also approved on the title deed departments? So this is something that we want to do. If it is done, I believe this is the experience of customers in the future, starting from a point to the point that starting from credit card use till the agreement with the landlord in this rental house case. I believe this is the future experience for the customers. So this can only be made through R&D and this Metaverse and the virtual reality changes. Yes, this is what I am going through in my life. I don't actually feel that there is banking applications in our lives. Yes, there is already banks, we know that, but it is all about customer experience. When the customer experience is complete, then I can fully live whatever I want in an invisible way. Yes, you don't have to go to a physical bank and explain all this interaction to a bank representative without saying, I need this, I want this. You can do this on your virtual platforms, and it can be a part of your invisible banking experience. So there are a lot of things to do in this respect, but as Turkish banks, we are just slowly starting to these new changes. I believe in Turkey, we try to adapt ourselves. Yes, exactly, that is correct. United States of America and Turkey is different from one another, and we can see really good examples in our country, but it could only be possible with the customer participation, and customers are not as digitalized as I have mentioned before. And I guess we have 1 to 2 years to see and collect some fruitful examples. And security side comes to my mind because we are exposed to many vulnerabilities. We use our credit cards, and our credit cards password is on our mobile phones. Our all credentials are on the virtual platforms, internet environments, so we can become really vulnerable. There is this blockchain and also metaverse. Yes, we are really excited, and also there are some security vulnerabilities and dangers that we are exposed to. We have carried out research in the previous period. From the employee's perspective, only 25% says that I'm ready against any security-related issues. So yes, banking sector, cybersecurity, and virtual reality, when these come together, you need to become much more concerned. So what should be done? What can you say? Well, let me answer. When it comes to security issue, there comes the most problematic problem. We need to understand the questions and the systems very well. So people who are equipped with information with respect to these platforms should be higher in number, and they should be much more qualified. In the business life, that we come across as a problem is the lack of capacity of the qualified employees, both numerically and in terms of quality, they are not sufficient. There are platform developers, and generally security is coming afterwards. So change happens very fast. At this very point of the world digitalization journey, we don't have high number of security staff, unfortunately. These are very limited number, and there are many changes on the circulation of the employees. They leave their jobs, and there are many shifts on their positions. So first and foremost, we have to be focusing on security in order to develop these platforms, and we have to have the academies, and we have to raise more experts. So whenever these people are going, wherever they are going, if you have sufficient number of experts, then you will not be bothered. So unemployment rate and also economic problems are at the level of paving the way for development of further qualified security staff and retention of the qualified ones at our hands. This is really crucial. Technology companies, your companies have huge responsibilities in this respect. And those programs, when you arrange them with the sponsorship of our institutions or institutions like ours, you can create some courses or academies. We can have a huge economy census and education census. Education is a must. Yes, this is maybe one of the really important things that we always say, or it's sometimes perceived as a joke, but this is indeed the reality. So unless you have the security behind what you sell, it affects your sales ratio and it affects the whole concept of your product. Yes, I agree with you, and we try to do our best. And when we make digital attempts, it's not only about youngsters, actually. Many people applied at these courses, and even lawyers came to our digital security courses. But of course, people try to learn this, and education is a must. Yes, I agree with you. And also, I want to touch upon one of the very hot topics about employees. Well, actually, in Turkey and in the world, finding qualified employees, making them work in the same company is very challenging for us. Especially in Turkey, this is what we see. On one side, startups and freelance counselors are rising as a trend. These are among the targets of the youngsters, and along with the digitalized world, they try to work for companies located in abroad remotely. So these are affecting us finding the correct resources, but we have to make these people work together. But how shall we do this? I mean, what do you do in your own institution? It's not only for technology department. This is a general question. You have asked a very appropriate question for us, because in the post-pandemic era, this has become a big problem for the world. After the lockdowns were eliminated, after the booms on the demand side, there was a very severe demand for employment and labor force has been on the single market right now, because during the pandemic we learned how to do business remotely without going to the offices. So the whole world has become a single market right now. So right now there is a transition from the low currency value countries to higher currency value countries. So companies can provide remote working options, especially if a person is a very qualified person in a low currency country. They can participate in a different countries' employment opportunities. In our country, we have low employment level, and because of the income distribution inequality and low currency level, from us towards these markets, there has become this transition. So this, at least, what we try to do for our employees. We know that they have to find a meaning in their lives and in their professional lives, and we try to add more meaning to what they do, and we try to make them earn their lives, and we don't want them to be in some income problems, and they should be over a certain economic threshold. If you just give money and if they don't get any meaning out of what they do, they will leave. So these two parameters should go hand in hand, and companies should be really courageous and really bold compared to past years, and they should also provide meaning to their employees. So the employees should feel that they can develop themselves and develop their own companies, and they should be able to earn some meaning out of what they do. And if these two are established together, and if you make your employees believe in a common vision and mission, I believe this is really crucial for companies, then afterwards it can be successful. And these are related to some intangible concepts: sustainability and gender equality, and carbon-free environment. So these concepts are exciting, are creating excitement over your employees. So when you have your events with your employees, weekend events or weekly events or some campaigns, then you can actually increase loyalty among your employees, and it can add more meaning for the employees, because meaning is generally related to the future generations or for the environment. When people do something meaningful for their lives and their environment, then they can feel much more satisfied, and you can feel that you can be really satisfied. So I think companies should be investing on the concepts related to environment and the relations that they can create with their employees will prevent the circulation. Well, when you were mentioning this, you were touching upon really critical topics like gender equality and climate change and environment protection. These are really crucial for our lives, but these are also important for our employees to work in a more satisfactory manner. This is more than correct, and I attach more importance to NGOs and NGO movements very much. So I think this is really crucial what you say. Yes. While I was visiting the branches of the banks and while I was visiting my friends, I have never seen such a joy that I saw in our a tree plantation event on the weekend. So I haven't felt that energy at all until this time, because they were along with their families. So after that feeling created, I would not imagine that these people would leave our company. Well, you have said it correct, and at the very conclusion, it's been a great message. Thank you very much for this very entertaining talk and chat. Thank you so much, and I wish great successes for your life. Thank you very much.
Sayın DİDEM ve Sayın Hakan Aran'a çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Değerli konuklar, bugünün ilk oturumu yeni çağ dinamiği, dijital devrim ve Metaverse. Cumhurbaşkanlığı Dijital Dönüşüm Ofis Başkanlığı'yla Sanayi ve Teknoloji Bakanlığı tarafından
So this session will be about dynamics of the new age, digital revolution and Metaverse. What will the National Artificial Intelligence Strategy prepared by the Presidency of the Digital Transformation Office and the Ministry of Industry and Technology, which aims to carry Turkey to the top of the rankings in the international artificial intelligence indexes, change in the ecosystem? What should be the strategic priorities in the next 10 years? What is the triggering role played by the dissemination of the digital transformation practices and global investment competitiveness? How will data-driven AI shape the way a business work, interact with the world, and create value? How can innovation be spread to the grassroots? How should university-youth cooperation be ensured? How can science literacy be increased? How should the privacy and the information security of the cloud platforms, which are multi-tenant environments whose infrastructure and resources are shared among many customers, be ensured? What policies, practices, and partnerships are needed to improve online security when it comes to the content created, viewed, and shared? How will 5G change factories, industrial facilities, agricultural sustainability, artificial intelligence, health, smart cities, augmented reality? What kind of an intelligence will it make in solving problems and changing the way we live and work? How will the new technologies such as virtual reality, augmented reality, extended reality, mixed reality create the Metaverse universe? How will Metaverse transform the mobile internet? Are we going to no longer look at the internet, but find the body and live in it? So, for this new session, as a moderator, I would like to invite Şükrü Andaş, the Chief Economics Editor from the Milliyet newspaper. Efe Bulduk, as a panelist, investor and Binance influencer of the year in Europe 2021. Mr. Süleyman Urakçıoğlu, Deputy Chairman of TIM Brand Council. Zehra Öney, Founding President WTech. Professor Dr. Emin Gün Sirer, Founder and CEO of Ava Labs and co-director of IC3 Cornell University. Hilal Suerdem, Deputy Chairman from Keeler, and Doğu Taşkıran, CEO of Order Inbox. We would like to give the floor to them. Thank you so much for the presentation. Actually, there has been a wonderful, summary that you have made for us, and I also would like to thank our panelists once again. And actually, I have a few notes that I've taken from the speech of Mr. Hakan, but if you allow me, in the first session of this panel, I would like to get their views about the future of this world. And according to my notes that I have taken, just take me like a look at it. We're taking a look at metaverse, cloud, data security, data and renewable energy, fintech, and remote business and remote working, etc., are the most important things that we're doing right now in a short period of time and not in a long term. I don't say that it's going to be 100 years later, but these are the main issues that we are dealing right now and will be dealing in the future as well. There's a great amount of a digital transformation going on right now. And how can we be more effective, and how can we take better steps? So we're going to be talking about as a theme, as a new era's dynamic and digital revolution and metaverse. Of course, we have here wonderful panelists dealing with these issues, and I would like to give the floor to Mr. Efe, first and foremost. The floor is yours, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Şükrü. I'd like to thank you for inviting me and it's wonderful to be amongst you with such wonderful panelists. So I used to be working with the Norway Assets Fund, and I'm going to be talking about this matter as well. And there are some certain realities that I want to be tackling about, which is actually the population is becoming elder and a new generation is coming up. And JP Morgan's last survey says that the millennials we see that the millennials, there are two classifications of millennials and boomers, the Gen X. And the technology is also changing. There was the concept of internet, there was no concept of online purchasing, and globalization has also created a great amount of a change. And there are different types of value transfers that are going on right now, and the investors are bringing up here a great amount of money and finances and investments, and that also created a great amount of a change here. Metaverse, on the other hand, the Sandbox CEO was here yesterday, and a question was asked to him. They said that, what do you think about Metaverse? Is it an area of an expenditure of spending money, or do you believe in the future of Metaverse? If you believe in the future of Metaverse, then what is the legal infrastructure and financial infrastructure about it? So maybe we have to be talking about these matters as well. But without further ado, I have my own definition of Metaverse, and then I'll leave the floor to you. There are plenty of data and plenty of investment banks that are dealing with it indeed. Metaverse is, without looking to the real situation of the people, they become socialized and they are creating an internet economy. So it is an empiric depending on experiences. So in the next coming moments, I suppose we can be talking about these matters in a more deeper way. I'm closing the floor right now for the next round. Thank you very much. Of course, in the normal panels, you have been very quick, very fast. In normal panels, it takes a little bit more time on how to define these issues. Mr. Süleyman, I'd like to give the floor to you as well, and welcome once again. Yes, thank you. I'd like to greet you all with my deepest respects. The subject is dealing with transformation and change. Now, the EU has a new industrial strategy. Sustainability and digitalization is combined together.
sıkı
These
sıkıya
two concepts are
bu
very much
dönemde
interrelated with each other.
baş döndürücü hızla ilerleyen
And in this period of time,
yani biz dijitalleşmeye de
there is a great amount of digitalization.
başladık.
As a company, we have initiated the digitalization 5 years ago.
Biz nasıl yaptık?
Indeed,
Pazar
how did we do our investments in digitalization? The products that we sold on the marketplace, and also with the applications that we have created, we try to bring the products with the clients, with our clients. And with all the applications that we have made, we can do also shopping through a virtual reality. And these are all, of course,
bir süredir aynı zamanda bir de
this is also very much important for customizing the shopping for the client. We are giving service from an end-to-end approach.
mağazalardan da teslim olabiliyor.
So they can make their purchases from over an application, but they can also go to the shop to buy it as they have ordered it. So in 5 years we have did this, but there are certain types of things that we have made also for Metaverse, and we need to actually sometimes do something just immediately because of the great change going on right now. And I suppose the pandemic has also helped this. Stock management, production planning, and all digitalization around it, of course, definitely is contributing to sustainability and to the carbon footprint. For now, the online sales per unit, we have reached to 30%, and reaching up to 30% on online purchasing, it's really a great number and global average. When we talk about Metaverse, it is also already said that it is to create a certain type of an identity for yourself, but Metaverse around the world for fashion is a new universe. So when it's creating a new universe, then through avatars, you can actually express yourself in a more freer way. And for the fashion sector, on the other side, it brings up also great opportunities. In the virtual world, clothing and dresses becomes significant. While talking about this matter, how do we do it? You are creating your avatars, and you can also have a collection training, or you can receive other types of trainings as well, because there are trainers who are creating their avatars to train others. So as a result of this, it is easing your life and your business as well. As I said in the beginning, the digitalization is also contributing to carbon footprint and also to sustainability. The main target here in the digital universe is bringing up the opportunity to go to a 3D dimensional shopping area. We have made an NFT collection last month, and in the end of this month, we are going to be opening up our Metaverse store. So actually, whatever we have done so far is actually bringing up what we have achieved in the end of the day. In the retail days, we have received the award of digital transformation as a company. And indeed, within this intensity and within these intense days, Metaverse actually is the last link of the digital online purchases. We are talking about augmented reality. We are talking about virtual reality. We are bringing the product to the client with addressable technologies, and we try to actually sell the products to the clients in this way on such a universe. But you have to be a very strong brand. Without having a strong brand, and if you do not have a product that doesn't interest anyone, that wouldn't actually suffice, of course. When we are making, we can actually create an increase of luxury products in this area as well. rather than actually in the conventional area. This is all I can say for the time being, but if there are any questions, I can respond to them. Of course, in the second round, we are going to be asking our questions and we take our notes. Taking a look to the situation, of course, I was chit-chatting about this. Daughter of a friend of mine received wanted the virtual code that she is playing in the game. So it is obvious that the future is over there. And then I'd like to give the floor to Ms. Zehra Öney. And she is the president of the Women Association in Technology. Mr. Şükrü, Mr. Efe, Mr. Sulema, you made wonderful inauguration speeches. Thank you very much. I call this rather than a digital transformation, but a technological transformation. We are in a grand transformation right now, and pandemic has speeded this up. And there is nobody who doesn't want to actually change right now. And I also would like to be talking about the AI before I talk about the Metaverse. AI in the next coming decades and also in the next coming future will create millions of dollars of an economy for institutions. Our Ministry of Industry has announced for 2021 and 2025 a Metaverse approach. So the GDP of Metaverse will create a great amount of a proportion and a contribution. And I believe that the strategy is very valuable because more than anything, those who are creating the technological transformation, I suppose this is a very important value that promotes us, which is the human being. So we have to create the transformation of the people, of the human, and then we can talk about processes and products so that we can actually use technology and sustainability in our social life and also in our business life. Well, we need to be using the good sides of technology. When we take a look to the AI strategy, we need to train AI employees. On the other hand, we need to support research and development in that manner. Good quality data and also infrastructure should be developed. Social economic coherence have to be arranged and regulated. This is very much important because security is also involved in it. In the beginning of the day, this was also an issue that we have talked about. The structuralization and the work power transformation has to be speeded up. And of course, these are actually the infrastructure of everything. We as the Association of Women in Technology believe that believe in the training of human resources in this area, in technological areas. But on the other side, we want to measure the relation of the Turkish people and technology. Together with Ipsos and the Bahçeşehir University, we have made a research. We're talking about AI, we are talking about Metaverse, blockchain, and NFT. These are transformational technologies indeed. But on the other side, we as Turkey, we as a Turkish people, are we ready for that? We have a young population, but does this young population is a young population interested in it? Are they aware of it? And how is their attributions? And I would like to give you some certain data. According to the attribution towards technology, the utilization, the index of technology, the AI, and of also STEM and STEAM areas, what is the woman perception? So these are the areas in which we have made researches. While we were calculating and measuring the technological level, we try to understand the attributes and behaviors and the knowledge of technology. We look to 3 dimensions. The awareness is at about 48%, 38% for attribution. For behavior, it is at about 54%. So as a qualitative and quantitative, we have had volunteers involved in this research at about 1,336 people. So it means that there is a great amount of a step that we have to take. There's a long road as far as we can see. The behavioral is 54%, but it's not sufficient. The attribute, on the other hand, is 38%, which shows actually that all the technologies that has been involved, that all the social life involves these technologies, really pictures out that there is a great necessity for human resources. As for AI, there are really interesting data. The amount of people who are saying that AI will be helping us is 73%, but those who believe that it will make people lazy is approximately at the same level. Most of the participants believe that the AI is going to take their jobs from their hands, and that's the reason why they feel worry against AI, and they're a little bit reluctant about it. And again, the robots, they believe that the robots will take a hand of the world, and it's the reason why there's another worry about them. And on the other side, what is your opinion about NFTs, AI? And most of them do not know. And there are 5% of people who have never heard about artificial intelligence at all. So that is the reason why when we are talking about technological transformation, of course, the artificial intelligence and all the other transformative technologies and metaverse and three-dimensional issues, and also the 3 zeros, and also the 5G and the internet revolution, on the other hand, is coming to our life, is an enriching, actually, enriching internet economy. It brings us these are the things that bring these new technologies to us through internet, and that is the reason why it is definitely very much important to train people who can be human resources for these areas, and that's the first thing that we need to be attributing to. And we have there are approximately 2,000 young people, and I feel very proud to say that 70% of them are women. We have trained approximately 2,000 people in technology, Cybernet, Java, .NET, software languages, and mobile application developers, Flutter softwares. For the time being, we have given a lot of training, particularly in the robotic processes. We had the opportunity to train them, and we have given the opportunity for them to be recruited at about 91%. And now in this matter, before we pass on Metaverse, I'd like to talk also a little bit about the human resources and how much we need it before we pass on the second round. This is all I can say for the time being. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to give the floor to you, sir. And of course, the contribution of all of the panelists is very much important. But you are in New York, it's about 4 o'clock early in the morning, and you are contributing from the States. And your opinions will be very much important for Turkey, also for the world. Thank you very much, and hello to everyone. Yes, in New York, it's about 4 o'clock early in the morning. It's rather dark. And also about Metaverse, I also have some dark opinions, and maybe I will be approaching to the matter in a more different way. What is expected from me is that there will be blockchain in the future. The blockchain will change the world. This is what is expected from me. Of course, I'm going to be talking about, of course, there will be blockchain and everything. And blockchain indeed is like a meteor approaching to the world, and it is going to create a great change. But about what Metaverse, my point of view here is rather different than the mainstream point of view. Mark Zuckerberg has actually popularized Metaverse, and as far as we can remember that, Mark Zuckerberg is a person who really very much understands the social media, is one of the person who really understands it. And when he talks about Metaverse, and when we talk about Metaverses, how do we explain it? It is something that is going to be realized 5-10 years ago. It is a universe, and it is singularly called. Like, it is going to be one single universe. We will be having avatars, and these avatars are going to be walking around. But this is not my approach. The thing that worries me and frightens me technologically are certain areas. So the metaverse is already here. And in different metaverses, we are passing through different metaverses. We are living our life in different metaverses, and we are not aware of it at all. What are those? For instance, there are there are two friends giving to two different parties and take their cellular phones and take a look to their social medias. And from these two different accounts, so their point of views are totally different. For instance, here in the United States, there are the Republicans and there are the Democrats. And in the meantime, when we take a look to a certain recent occasion, for instance, a mass murdering, for instance, their approaches are totally different if we take two people together. And when you take a look to the Instagram social media account of a good friend of yours, a person who you know very well, and on Instagram, you're going to see the persona that is totally different than you know. And it is a total universal reality. I can go on like this. And in Twitter, for instance, the Twitter I see and you see will be very much different from each other due to our personal interests. The metaverses are here. The AI, the algorithms have already brought it to us. And due to the content that is customized, the world we know is now very much fragmented and it is changing. And the societies are really very much fractured. This is an issue that frightens me most. And on the other hand, the algorithms, what do these algorithms learn from us, or what we try to tell them? One of the most important things that worries me is that these algorithms can be can actually present racist acts. You are this, and I'm going to show you that. You are this, and I'm going to show you that. And if the algorithm is not properly trained, then systematically that approach can be totally different than what we know, and this is very dangerous. And one other thing is blockchain. In such a world, in where metaverses are, where algorithms can actually lead to somewhere else, is the data that people have in their hands. Whatever I have and what I am interested in, what do I like, what don't I like, what things trigger me, what don't. So in this new universe, in the new world, what we see is this. Take a look to the Nasdaq first 100 companies, their values and the data values, their values and their data values are approximately parallel. So data is very much important too in this world right now. So we are, for instance, do not have, as Turkey, a Facebook. We do not have a social media or an Instagram at all. We are totally dependent to the outside world. And we are presenting our data freely, and we are exporting all these data as if there is no tomorrow. And as for blockchain, it brings up a new infrastructure, a new way of doing business, and a business flow. Mark Zuckerberg, who are actually kind of a monarchic structure, will bring the people to the whole system, and they are bringing up new systems that will actually fragment people a lot. So if we go to the future, people definitely will realize that such systems are going to be very, very dangerous. And as they become aware of this, they want to actually keep their own values. And they do not want to give their data to Mark Zuckerberg, or they do not want to they do not want to depend on them. So they do not want to be under their mandate. So they want to be in the top of the pyramid. And that is the reason why I suppose they're going to be very reluctant in the near future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. This has not been just the main topics of the business world, digital transformation and these topics, and you have also touched upon the political and social and societal side of it, the things that can bring and that can take away from our lives. You have touched upon it very well. And so now we will continue with you, Mr. Hilal Suardem. So what is your perception? And I'd like to thank you very much. It's been a great panel. We had to enter into this world because we have been following technology and the business world very closely. Our vision is very wide in this sense, and retail companies should invest in technology and computation unless you want to be lagging behind from the world. As our company 4 years ago in the computing valley, we founded our own software company. When we formed this company, we wanted to provide CRM solutions and retail software and faster e-commerce development. And we also worked how to touch upon the lives of the people in terms of their emotions through some digital analysis. And we found out that
Yöntemlerinin gelişmesi
artificial intelligence was to be there and different marketing solutions should be evaluated and developed. And when the Facebook became Meta and the pandemic brought us faster development pace. So at the very end, we found ourselves in this business. So because we were in the valley, we cooperated with some companies. We cooperated with a Metaverse company as a partnership. Right now we are working and
bir de yapay zeka herhangi bir şirketiyle yatırım yaptık.
we work with the ERP company for artificial intelligence management, and I will briefly touch upon it later on if you wish. So at this very point in the metaverse world, NFTs have become huge priority and importance, and we try to have an NFT collection that is sustainable and environment friendly. In May 25, with a great launching in a holographic environment with 3D, it was like runway show. We provided our first NFT presentation. It was on the press and media, and I think we have become a pioneer in this showroom runway fashion show, and we got really great feedback. We will have our store on August, and we will have new marketing features like FFA has mentioned. All the social aspects, marketing aspects are just a part of this whole structure. We will be doing the marketing and the social support of it. And I'd like to say this, the physical world, real world, will be embedded with these changes. We are right now developing projects because when you are in the metaverse, you will be feeling different emotions, and at the same time, you will be getting new earnings, and they will all be blockchain basis. So we are going to bring these two worlds together. The earnings of the people on the metaverse will be spent on physical stores, and the vice versa could also be possible. I was listening to Mr. Hakan, the CEO of Turkish Bankası, and he said that we gave NFT as gifts to our customers. So when you are in a store, for instance, where your site is focusing, what is your age, how much time you spend in front of a shelf is automatized and analyzed with some systems, and on the robotic systems you will receive this information, and on the cash points you can actually serve the customers for better product presentation, and you can keep this information on your data. Big chain markets are really much into this business, and up until this time we have earned a lot in our investments. And also in artistic products and in the galleries, products to be exhibited, when the NFTs are sold, then you will be sold an NFT screen. That product could be on your on your house door, and it's just peculiar to you, NFT is not in a diskette or in just any USB in your computer. NFTs could be hanging on your wall, actually. It could be presented in your houses. And the Avalanche network on FS Store, we have already started selling these products. I don't know whether you know this, but it's going on very well. So it's an open door, actually. So it can go up until this dimensions when it is about human and customers. So if we can transfer our business from metaverse to physical stores in terms of marketing and societal aspects, I believe we can do great business. So to what dimension and direction people's emotions go toward, we don't know this, we can't foresee this, but we believe that we're going to be really researchers for the essential emotions and feelings of the people, and we will do our best to follow the changes. Thank you very much. Tu is going to be the last speaker of the first tour. Yes, new enterprises and new attempts are really crucial for this new era and are at the very core of this center. So first and foremost, I would like to thank you very much for this really great panel, and I'd like to thank all the panelists. I live in Vancouver, Canada, and I am a CEO of two very outstanding artificial intelligence and virtual reality, augmented reality projects and NFT marketplace projects. And with these projects, we try to add contribution on the creative economy. Moreover, we will pave the way for the transfer of digital assets to one another. Metaverse is a topic that I dive into earlier ages, and when I was playing games in Izmir, we were having the playing consoles back then, and this is the very beginning of my career. I started my career with the playing games sector, and then artificial intelligence, augmented reality. We've had many more works, and in the game sector, I worked for different companies, and my whole career is based on taking people to another place virtually and make them feel that they were in a different place and create different emotions up until 2 to 3 years ago. So along with that, NFT and cryptocurrency became available, and economic infrastructure and structural information was unavailable for us. So we try to make it happen in all around the world right now. Hakan has already mentioned that, especially freelancers right now are employed in different countries. They work remotely. They can work in different places, from low currency value countries to higher value currency countries and companies. People could be employed right now. This is the world direction that we are heading towards. As you all know, that internet technology has given us these opportunities. On one side, it is democratizing what we do, and it's also making Southern African countries and Southern Asian countries or Western European countries are put in an equal level. At the same time, everything must be made remotely, and blockchain is one of the great facilities for this. Without needing any travel or journey, you can experience things differently on virtual environment, and augmented reality is the key for having this experience. We can also have an access to this experience on a personalized manner. This same experience could be felt differently by the two people, actually. And as Metaverse, what we call is that all the technologies that we have has been added some other dimensions. It is right now the physical side of it. So therefore, Mr. Emin and FM have already stated We can transfer our identities to different universes. We can also transfer our assets to other universes without needing any third party for trust. We can take everything of ours to another dimension. You can limit or you can open up the limits for the access of other parties for your assets. So it includes different variety of technologies. It's really precious. Metaverse is the intersection point of very big technologies. It's about interaction of different technologies in the same platform. When we say metaverses, I prefer metaverse because there is just one internet and one metaverse. So 3D worlds are going to be interacting to one another, and it is going to affect retailing sector, education sector, health sector. So everything is going to be affected by this. Thank you very much, by the way, for your invitation. Thank you so much. At the end of the first tour, this is what we can understand, and this has been always obvious. Data is the golden and platinum of the new era. This is the most precious asset in our lives, and data should be organized, and data should be used and analyzed by the companies, individuals, and countries and governments. Data is the most important thing. So let's go down to the individuals. From this perspective, maybe Efe, if we continue with you, what would you say about cryptocurrency? And there's also, and the previous speech, though, has mentioned it very well. We take people to another place. This is our main target. We take people or assets from the very place that they live or reside and take them into another world to make people happier, richer, etc. So at this very point, when it comes to cryptocurrency, blockchain, are the world of new opportunities. What can you say? The floor is yours. Thank you very much, Shukran. Well, at the very basis of your question, I'd like to frame a picture. Students in US and European countries know this. Academicians always tell the students, do an outline so that we know what you are talking about. There should be an outline of what we do. So let me just talk about the purpose of I do. I'll be talking about a change here because you mentioned that people want happier and wealthier, richer lives. It's not about only perception, but Emin has mentioned something really precious. And like there's this academic article, there's this counter argument. In our lives, we are a bit hooligan. Unfortunately, this is accepted, but this is not correct because when you are hooligan about something, then you are misled and you are mistaken. So here we talk about it, the digitalization reality. Yes, everyone has mentioned that if you are curious about this, Metaverse happened in New Zealand and Ready Players it by Steven Spielberg, but internet has become really widespread in our lives. No one was actually dreaming of mobile phones and having shopping on our mobile phones, but this happened. So augmented reality, virtual reality, we will be moving towards these dimensions, and metaverse and similar concepts are going to take benefits of these senses. And there is this changing perception. Along with COVID, we are going through a change in our perceptions, and I was talking to Goldman Sachs friends 2 or 3 days ago, and they sent me an analysis, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook, Instagram analysis, the use of these platforms before and after COVID, and there's been a huge change on the hours spent on these different platforms. Like previous panelists have mentioned before and after the pandemic, people were right now using these concepts more and more. Right now we have this concept that we can do our job on the virtual platforms and on actually appraisals on the stock markets. We have seen that Netflix and Zoom, they become viral. And Gen Z, Generation Z, Generation X, I'm 31 years old, by the way. I'm also one of these people, by the just to a slightest portion, I could be these Gen Z, Gen X. So there's also the boomers above the age of 61, and these people are really different from one another. And Hakan Bey has mentioned it beforehand. So he told me that really it's very difficult to retain these employees at our companies. Yes, this is correct. So there is this effect over our generation, and I was talking to one of my friends from Morgan and Stanley. So in the slacks in the C level on the executive management, when they ask a question about metaverse, there is no answer. So then they were saying that we have to hire more junior people. So yes, this is what is to be made. People, smart people, are also changing their direction towards these dimensions. I don't want to take further of your time, but I'd like to talk about some limitations. Emin has mentioned something very well. We don't have to be too optimistic. Mark Zuckerberg was very smart, so he changed his company's name as Metaverse. So he is as Meta. So he is aiming at getting the biggest share for his company. I'm not a software developer, but I'm of course developing myself every time that I read new thing. It is difficult to keep data at our hands and store the data. No one thinks so what will happen. People think that just with a click of our finger, everyone is going to wake up as metaverse world, but it's not going to happen because keeping this data at data center is not easy, because activating the data, etc. Let me simplify it. Let's say 200,000 people in a metaverse can't be wandering all together. We don't have this technology. No, we don't have this technology. If I'm mistaken, you can correct me, and I'll be in consensus next week. I'll try to understand what we are heading towards in terms of technology. We need to evaluate ourselves, but at the same time, Apple has this AirTag. For instance, that AirTag doesn't have GPS, but if you have an iPhone, they believe that there is going to be an iPhone around, so you can have this match data transfer. So data is fragmented, and then you can actually bring data together. So when you have a higher pace for fragmentation and bringing data together, then you can reach metaverse better. So corporate metaverse is the future of metaverse. If I was in this business world as Efe Bulduk, I would be IPG and Vodafone, and I would try to take different big companies into metaverse. Am I on the okay? Am I on the platform? Okay, I would try to convince them. And Peter's concept, I'll try to make a metaverse for Keely or Zara companies, retailing companies. So McKinsey has a report about this world, and this is related to what I mentioned. What do we have here? There is advertising and social commerce, and also digital events, and hardware and developers and creators. Then we have a look at from this perspective, we can understand that market is going to rise on social commerce and advertising. What does it mean? I've mentioned it before, and this is an opportunity for marketing. Like Keely and Turkish Bankası, is this an area that brands are going to earn more money, or is it going to develop as an ecosystem? It's not easy because technology is not at the desired level. We don't have the legal and financial infrastructure, but it's going to happen. So the pace, the speed is going to be lower than what we have anticipated. And I'd like to talk about octopus investment, about Keely, and it's really interesting. So with a screen at your hand, your NFT is matched, and you can't use that screen for any other purposes. So it's like you have a digital painting. So this is all from my side. Thank you very much. I'll give the floor to you and unmute myself. Thank you so much. You have given us great information. Thank you very much, Efe. Now, Süleyman, if you want, we can move on with you. And in Metaverse and digital transformation, there are different changes. We know that, especially including individuals and companies, and states are always like this. I'm taking everything into this three axis. It's like the incapacitated chickens. people or companies or governments pretend what to do. They were just wandering freely without consciously. We know that on Turkish Exporters Assembly, you have attached importance to this topic and you are making plans and making investments. So at this very point, what can you say about the sector and the future of the sector?
Actually, from a two-dimensional world, we go to a three-dimensional world. Of course, on a sector level, how can we bring up the occasion that we can go to a 3D shop? And many projects are based upon it. As a group, there are a lot of startups in which we also are supporting. And one of the most important things here with digitalization, we also are we can also have a close contact with the global stores. Of course, we have been digitalized, but what was the benefit of it? About that benefit, if we make an analysis about that benefit, we have to take a look to the matter as a result-based way. The most important project that we are conducting is that China has a larger marketplace compared to Amazon, like JD. And together with JD, we have been actually debating with them since 8 months. And we have taken a lot of steps through these discussions. And we have trade consultants in it, the Ministry of Trade and the Turkish Exporters Assembly as well. Why do I tell this? Because through digitalization, you cannot sell everything on Metaverse. On online and physical sales, we have to also think about these matters as well on a virtual level. We regard that Far East is very far, but it seems likely that our brands and our companies were not very close in contact. But now we have an opportunity, especially in the Chinese market, based on sectors. Which sectors are advantageous, and based on products, which products are advantageous, are certain researches that we have made. And as a result of these researches, we have initiated the test. We have made some certain trials in order to send them. And right now, for instance, in Izmir, a manufacturer in Izmir, by using the online platform, can sell their products. And there's also another important issue, and let me just actually wrap it up here. We were always talking about the customs of China, and we were thinking that we cannot actually overcome any kind of a barrier that China is bringing us as customs. But now you can digitally and online sell a product having a value of at least $793 for free through JD. Think about the customer profile in Far East. A company can have channels in Turkey to sell their products in Far East. All of these studies, as for the beginning and initiation, begins with a project. But when we bring up of the dynamics, it has occurred that definitely being a metaverse is very much important, but on the other hand, the world has realized the value of production. Even China today, as for supply, when they make a change in their existing situation or in their existing situation, the world collapsed. So that's the reason why I constantly talk about production and production. The EU has an industrial strategy, sustainability and digitalization, and I do believe to the fact that these are the most important pillars. And I leave the floor to my friends. Thank you very much. I would like to give the floor to you, Ms. Zehra. Of course, the most important and terminology is innovation that we have skipped, and you are just in the core of it. And you are training human resources, and you're just in the core of many areas in this digital world. So what do you think about innovation and the future and young people? Thank you very much for this question. Before passing to your question, let me just make an addition to the Metaverse side. On 2014, I am a technology developer. As an augmented reality was a right application without having any kind of a mediator. You could actually receive a three-dimensional digital contents. And as a result of this, of course, the Web 3.0 three-dimensional vision has very well simulated, and we have made a lot of projects about it. Approximately, I have made 100 projects with different brands, and more than 10 million people could have the opportunity to meet the augmented reality from over an app. It's even better than a QR code. We live in a physical world at about 75%, but we have a tendency to the digital. And as it is said before, right now we are actually living in the meta world, and the physical world, together with the artificial intelligence, is actually a meta simulation. And hence the case when we take a look to the outputs of our studies, there is an increasing demand. And we see that I have seen that many people want to be living in that world. So even if there's a singular metaverse, there will be many metaverses. The meta areas are institutional areas, yes, of course, because these are the area where we socialize and where we are making commerce. In China, more than 1,300 brands are registered to be existing in Metaverse, and these are very well-known brands. Taking a look to the game world, Roblox, for instance, the young people are using this for gaming, and there's a great actual population here. There's a great amount of transaction. People are shopping. There are millions of avatar updates. They are buying. So the trade has already begun in the meta world. And on the other hand, brands like Kiolu and Damat have realized the value, and they intend to be in it as well. But on the other hand, there's a multidisciplinary world in Metaverse. For instance, I was in a meeting with the architects. I was together with a very valuable architects association, and there's also an experience for the users in architecture as well, because people are experiences the houses, the floors, and that they want to buy. And that is the reason why this is also an area where we can actually support the unicorns. The textile sector, on the other hand, has also great opportunity here and is maybe the most important one. A sustainable innovation, I can define it as such. It cannot be only done with one singular contribution. We have to actually disseminate ourselves to the bottom line. And only then can we talk about an innovation. If we can actually spread it out on the basis, then we can have that culture. From a macro micro level, on a personal base and on an institutional base, we need to actually give that culture. In particular, when we talk about the social economic level, we definitely have to precisely point out to training and to our institutional lives. As for training, we are still researching. We do not still have a research-based or an inspirational or an and actually imaginative training. So that is the reason why we have to start from with very young children, and the Turkish economy can only grow in that area with such a training. The business world has also tackled upon the innovation from a newer point of view. The entrepreneur, those who are making in-house innovations, have to be supported, and all of the researchers and all of their initiations that they are doing have to be supported, because these people has to be inspired to actually adapt to the company. On the other hand, on our daily lives, on our social lives, an opinion-based and innovation-based establishments or gatherings are going to increase day by day. And that culture has to be distributed to the baseline, starting up from birth up until death. This is a very important area to spread it all around. The young people of Turkey, if they cannot implement technology and innovation, then the trained source will go out of Turkey, and this is a brain immigration that will cause also an economic loss for our country. If we can keep our human resources in Turkey, and the outside investment, the foreign investment will automatically rise, and our potential will increase. And together with that innovation culture, Turkey will have potentials that can create an innovation, and people will actually demand to come and work here in Turkey. That's the reason why the economic structures, the families and individuals do have responsibilities upon their shoulders. We have to actually look to this matter from a more collective way. Thank you. And let us continue to you, Mr. Professor Emin Günsirer. What should we do as Turkey, as for individuals? How can we be part of it, of this new world? How can we be a player in this area? So of course there are different approaches. According to my opinion, what shouldn't be done is that this new metaverse and this blockchain issue,
yani oradan alınacak bir değer var mı diye yaklaşmak yerine,
if we take rather than looking at an exploitation, we need to approach the matter from a different point of view. What should be that we need to bring up people together,
bir değer nasıl çıkartabilir?
and and I believe that some certain blogs will be successful in which they think that how
Bir firmam var.
bit more. Let's say that I have a company. How can I sell what I have? And instead of actually approaching to the matter like that, how can I bring up the whole sector together? How can I gather the people within the sector? And how can we approach to a larger mass of people? So the blockchain technology that is working under the system is totally universal technology. There are no borders of countries here. And there's a wonderful thing that contributes. So any type of a team coming up from Turkey can easily go to the world technology. Why shouldn't we have an NFT like Graphic Anatolia? We have wonderful friends who are successful in NFT, and they are enlightening the pathway to it. And I'm sure that will be a larger mass coming, and that there's no reason why it shouldn't happen. So that is the reason why there's a lot of things that we can do. But I can see that within the Turkish users, there is an actual inertia here. So people think that most of the things have to come from the government. They say that they want to do something. but they're waiting for somebody to support them. But as Ms. Zehra has said, this entrepreneurship
girişimcilik olayı Türkiye'de çok gelişmiş değil.
is not very well developed in Turkey, and unfortunately, before doing something, people are expecting a lot of support, but in the blockchain technologies, they can actually create the value and the support. Through blockchain, there are plenty of small companies that find funds. For instance, the two friends at the age of 22 years of age, and there are people who are working together before their high school graduation, can actually establish such blockchains, and there are so many people who achieved it, and there are so many people that are exemplary. And without actually looking for support from an outside institution, I suppose you have to work on your own in the beginning. There is not much of an intervention in order to actually reach up to a greater mass. So that is the reason why there is a challenge here in the Turkish way of looking. I'm expecting here a breakthrough. There are companies that can be opened up, and after I show you some, I show them some certain examples. I'm sure that we are going to get good results, and I suppose that these young people have already opened up a pathway for that. So it is said that we first of all have to believe in digitalization. And Mr. Hakan has said that as İşbank, they have actually come to a point that they worked a lot. I do believe to what Mr. Hakan said, and I do believe what Mr. Zehra has said. In such an environment that we are in, giving importance to innovation and to also bring up products that contribute to the environment and ecology is very much important. It is said to us that there should be a 30% of a recycling in all the products that you are making. So that is the reason why we give very much importance to this. As an infrastructure, we have made software product, softwares. We have made, started up to make softwares with Amazon, for instance. And they are very much important. It is also very much important that you have a strong infrastructure. We are making direct sales here without having any kind of a mediating channel. We have made a lot of studies about digitalization and also as for production. During the pandemic, we have made our samples in a three-dimensional way, and we sent it on a digital way to our customers and received orders, and it was so easy. And that is the reason why everything went very smoothly. And we have seen the efficiency of 3D, and we have seen how much important it is to actually follow all of these innovations and technologies. Apart from Turkey, as it is said before, the brands that have an innovational infrastructure, we need to find a good strategy. They should represent Turkey, and they should be exemplary to the producers in Turkey. That's the reason why we believe that we have a mission and we try to apply it in the Metaverse world and also in the next coming future. This is what we want to do, of course. Thank you, Mr. Hilal.
Yes, of course, generations that wants to work in different and meaningful companies, and in the world, in the future, there will be meaningful companies would like to work together, would like to support one another hand in hand, would like to run for the future. Thank you very much, Hilal Bey. I'd like to add one thing. I also visit universities to give speeches in front of them, and we really explain this to them, and they give us great feedback. In technology, success stories and examples are really crucial for everyone. This is really important for youngsters and for everyone. And Doğu, you are in a very innovative work. And can you please talk us about some success stories? Thank you very much. Well, actually, I try to give you examples about this, and I really like talking about it.
Hem Metaverse olayına hem blockchain olayına. Pessimist olmak çok kolay oluyor. Dolayısıyla biraz
It's really easy to be pessimistic, but I like to be hopeful for the future. It's for the world and all the people in the world could be actually seen as an example, and everyone can do this by grasping opportunities. I really agree with Emin, and a lot of things are democratized here, and it's this effect that it can bring into everything in a cool way. So everything can be made. I did this from the scratch. I did it with my own hands. I did this just by myself. Saying this is really joyful, and this is due to conjectural position of Turkey. Turkey can become a power in the region, and this is really nice to have this. So what I believe is that as a Turkish person living in abroad, in many summits in abroad, in conferences, I try to say the same thing. So many centralized things could be decentralized in terms of production. It could be happening in Turkey and African countries as well. And so we have to have a very global perspective. Well, in my own past, there are different anecdotes, and I'd like to make a statement about this. And in very early ages, I already mentioned, I started to be involved in programming at the age of 11 and 12 years in one of the playing game rooms in our game stores. And so there were MDFs, and we were having the devices in the workshop in Izmir, and there were 8 game stores in Izmir, and 4 of them, let's say, belonged to us. And I really remember there were the Sega device, and my uncle said that you are not going to play with this, you are going to make them together. And he gave me a basic book about Excel 5 to 5 books. So at that early age, I learned how to do this. And at the next year, I wrote my computer games, and I wanted to create this 3D world. This has shaped my life. And my father has been one of the founders of the oil painting, water painting artists, and he was doing his job, and he was also operating his advertisement agency. And my sibling also became a graphic designer, and then worked in Vestel and in 2 and 3D design sites. So this is how you can see as an example. So my sibling has this right brain, the creativity side, showing you some different sides of the other world, and I tried the algorithm side of it. After graduation from Middle East Technical University, I worked for military simulations for the submarines and aircrafts, but I was really keen on working on technologies that were not killing but making people smile, and electronic arts offered me this position. Then I came to Canada, and I never actually looked at back at all. So I brought different structures, bringing Metaverse of different companies together, Unisoft and Ordinary Box, and I found my 3 different companies. They have 3 different concepts. When you bring those concepts together in the retail sector, you can provide solutions with creative technologies. In the IoT, as soon as you enter into the store, this is very much personalized and location-based, providing digital connection. You can see different options, thanks to artificial intelligence. It makes your lives easier. So this is what we work on right now. And we take everything for the artificial intelligence. And with NFT, with the cryptocurrencies, you can create an alternative universe for you. It might have very frightening concepts, but this is a personalized training system. This is what we need to do. This is not for today, actually. It's not going to bring 200,000 people together, but we try to structure the forms that can bring 200,000 people together. Can we give people their own universe? This is what we aim at. And since the very beginning of my background, I believe that we can create a world independent, irrespective of the race, religion, gender. We can create the wholeness of the universes, and we can create equality of opportunities. And at the very core of this, there should be Turkey, because of different reasons. So I believe that we will have very great cooperation.
Başka yerlerde her birisini ayrı değerlendiriyoruz. Çok kıymetli şeyler
Half
çıkıyor.
of our team is in Canada and half of it is located in Turkey. So we are great results and we don't have to be pessimistic, really. Thank you very much, Doğum. And first and foremost, I'd like to thank our panelists for using our time very effectively. On behalf of our viewers, spectators, we have used our time really efficiently. Thank you very much. It's been a great horizon opening session. I have taken many notes and I have actually written down 2 pages of notes. I hope that our viewers and panelists, you have also learned a lot from one another, and I believe that our country and world will be getting benefit of these views. And Mr. Emin and Mr. Do, you have come from the United States and Canada. I guess it's just 5 a.m. Thank you very much for your participation. And our panelists from Turkey, thank you very much. The floor is yours. Thank you. Ebru Hanım. Esteemed participants, we would like to thank you very much. We would like to thank Şükrü Andaç from Milliyet Newspaper and also Efe Bulduk and Süleyman Orakçıoğlu and Zehra Öney and also Professor Emin Gün Sürer. And also we would like to thank Hilal Suerdem and Ordin Baksio, Mr. Doğu Taşkıran. We would like to thank you very much for your participation. Well, last session of our conference will be on our YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook channels of our conference website at 3 p.m. We hope to see you.